so bright. All right, guys, what's up? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I'm heading to the gun range. Pardon me if the lighting is a little off. It's really bright out today. It's hot as hell. I'm going to talk about a question that came to me via a subscriber. His name is Eric. Eric has recently gotten into the security industry. He sent me a message, and it was really a really good, detailed kind of situation that a lot of security guards go through, a lot of security guards are dealing with. So I thought that it'd be easier for me just to make a video and answer this, because I think a lot of people have this question and a lot of people feel this way. First off, before I go any further, man, shout out to my guard. I made this shirt. This was the first shirt that I ever created like 2 years ago. This is a badass shirt. I'm gonna have to redo this. So anyway, his question, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it directly in front of me, was this. He says, look, I just got into the private security industry. I want to make this a career. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I think that I have the potential to be good at this job, at this career, but I don't understand why the security company that I work for and every other company that I've looked at and all of the other guards that I've talked to, I don't understand why the private security industry is not helping to set officers up to be successful. It's almost like they want us to fail. He says, you know, I get hired and they really didn't give me any training outside of like the basic training that you need to get into the industry. He says when he gets put on his first site, they didn't really tell him anything. They kind of showed him around. They showed him the ropes. They gave him a standard protocol, but they didn't give him any training in terms of like how to really do his job and set him up to be successful. Now, if you work in private security, this is a very relatable story, because I don't care if you're working retail security, if you're working event management, it's almost like whatever aspect of the industry you're in right now, that's the story, right? They hire you, they make sure that you have the basic level certification, they give you a quick rundown, a quick overview, but for the most part, there's not any training. And he was like, I don't understand why this is. I don't understand how this can be. Like, they don't want us to make mistakes. They don't want us to mess up. They don't want us to work outside the scope of what we're supposed to be doing. But at the same time, they're not offering us anything. And then he says, on top of that, you know, you've got the sheriff's department, the police department, you have the corrections department, you have all of these different agencies that constantly, when they come in contact with security guards, are like, look, you're overdoing it, you're stepping outside of your lane, you're doing too much, these are the mistakes that you're making, but they're not offering any adjacent training either. He's like, I don't get it. How are we supposed to succeed if we're not put in a position where we're able to learn how to do our job better? Now, the answer that every company is going to give you is that it's, say it with me, people, your responsibility. If you want more training, if you want the ability to be a better officer, if you want to, you know, make yourself more effective, if you want to make yourself safer, if you want to be able to protect yourself via defensive tactics or shooting training, any of that stuff, the company's going to say it's your responsibility. And he said, I understand that and I get that on one hand. He goes, but if I'm new to the security industry and I'm having to pay for everything else, he goes, you know, the company that I'm working for, I had to provide my pants, my boots, my duty belt, my firearm. If I want to have a plate carrier, I got to get that. I got to purchase the plates. I have to purchase everything with the exception of the shirt that they give me. Everything else is my responsibility. How is that okay? And then on top of that, if I want to be trained to do my job for your benefit, right? Because it's for the benefit of the company. If you come in to any security company and you're a better officer, you're a more trained officer, you're a better well-equipped officer, you're more knowledgeable, you're better able to articulate yourself, you can write the report that keeps the company out of legal trouble, that keeps you out of legal trouble. If you have the understanding of how to carry yourself at your site so that your company doesn't lose the contract, Yeah, you're benefiting from that financially by whatever you're getting paid, but the company far benefits more than the officer does. If you're a great officer that knows how to keep your company's ass out of a bind by carrying yourself properly, knowing what you can and can't do, being able to practice de-escalation, being able to write and articulate that report, your company is going to benefit way more greatly than you as an officer, because they get to take your abilities of what you're bringing to the table and they get to market that to other locations. Hey, my officer that works at your retail store, do you like him? Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, he's our officer. That's our company. The logo on the side of the shirt represents the company, not you as an individual officer. So for every officer that does great, for every officer that the company or the contract holder can say, that officer does the absolute best job, keeps us out of trouble, de-escalates everything, has very few hands-on incidents, that reflects on the company. So then the company gets to take all of that and go to the next retail establishment or bank or business and say, listen to the rave reviews of the officers that we supply. And they get to benefit from the next company and the next company. And so from Eric's perspective, he's like, that's not right. Now, I've given you guys the breakdown. I've given you the backstory. And most of this, if you've been following this platform or if you work in the industry, I didn't have to tell you this stuff because you already know. You're well aware of it. To the Eric and to anyone else who's in that position where you're frustrated and you don't understand why this is, guys, the answer is simple and you already know it. It's because at the end of the day, the goal of private security, in terms of the company standpoint, it's simply to make money. That's it. There's no moral or ethical or greater impact to society. It's a money grab. Every single company. Now, are there mom and pop companies out there? Are there individual security guards who've opened up companies who have a moral desire to do the right thing, to protect people, to offer a service? Absolutely. But when we're talking about major large companies that offer service on a grander scale, they don't give a shit. They don't care if you're a good officer to the point that they will replace you if they need to, right? They will take advantage of you being a good officer, but they're not looking to put out a premium level officer, because on a long enough timeline, what they're doing is securing contracts, putting bodies in that location, checking the boxes of coverage, and then taking the lion's share of the money that comes from that contract. And they're breaking you off a little bit of crumbs. Now, that's the exchange. That's the exchange for what we do. But you as an officer, Eric, or anyone else who's listening to this, as frustrating as it is, as you could say unethical as it could be, that's the game. You have three options in this game. You can get out of the game, which a lot of people do. A lot of people say, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not going to, continue to put my time, effort, and energy into building up someone else's portfolio. And that's fair. You can play the game, which means you work for the company that pays you the absolute most, puts you in the position that you desire the most, gives you the best opportunity to advance or do the things that you want to do or experience the types of sites and activities that you want to experience, and potentially open up your own place, right? Or you stay frustrated. Those are your three options. You get out, you stay in it, you learn to play the game, and you manipulate it to the best opportunity for yourself, or you remain in it and you stay frustrated. There's no scenario where it's going to change. There are companies out there that are really good companies. There's companies that, to an extent, put the officer, I'm not going to say first, because every company is about making profit. Idiot to get into business to not make money. But there are some companies out there that put the officer in a little to be better suited or situated for the locations that they're working. And this is at that retail level that most of us work. If you're talking about working private security where you're doing contract work or you're doing, government facilities, nuclear facilities, I would have to assume that in those situations, it's a lot different. I knew somebody who worked for a power plant in Missouri, private security, and they did training out the ass. I mean, it was like they were training them on AR, they were training them on 9mm carbines, they were training them on defensive tactics. Like, they trained just like a damn SWAT team. And that was a private security company that worked for a nuclear power plant. So those opportunities are out there, but for the most part, at the lower level, base level, retail security, event security, you're just not going to get that. And law enforcement is never, and when I say never, I want to repeat this for all the people in the back, never going to reach out to private security to help us. They see us as problematic a lot of times. They see us as creating issues for a lot of the ways that they're able to apply pressure to municipal situations, to contract situations. Having private security here in Portland has been an issue for law enforcement here in Portland. You've got private security companies that are paying what the Portland Police Department is paying. And people are able to work without any of the bureaucracy. And people in the city have figured out that, hey, look, if I just work with a private security firm, I can get someone here to deal with the homeless issue, or I can get someone here to protect my business, and it's not tied to a political agenda or a political ideology. It's not tied to a district attorney that either wants to or doesn't want to get involved. I can just have somebody here that at the moment something happens, they can be here. That's taken a lot of power from the damn police unions and people who want to apply pressure by withholding service, right? So it's not in their best interest to go, hey, let's get some private security guards in here and teach them how to better do this, or put them in a position where they're better at doing that. Absolutely not. So the truth is that it's not financially advantageous to the companies to invest. What's another reason why they don't invest in their officers? Well, the biggest reason is that officers are unreliable. You're unreliable at the $14 an hour rate. And I'm going to be 100% honest and transparent. There's guards who are getting $45 to $50 an hour, and they are equally unreliable. It's a bright sunny day right now. It's July. It's I'd say probably 95 degrees out right now. It's hot as hell. I can guarantee you that someone in my company who makes $45 to $50 an hour probably called off today. Called off without any semblance of warning to my supervisor, causing him to probably have to get up and scramble. I'm driving over the bridge right now. I see boats. I see fucking jet skis. People are out on the water right now. Somebody that's making $45 an hour, who's worked in law enforcement for 10, 15 years, who has a pension, he ain't going to work today. It's no different than the person that makes $13, $14 an hour. So from the company's perspective, why are they going to invest in paying for your equipment, paying for your stuff, teaching you how to be a better officer, doing this, doing that, educating you, for you to not show up and put the contract in jeopardy? Or what's another issue that happens? For you to get 5 or 6 of the guards that are there and break off and do your own thing. That happens over and over and over again. Most of these companies feel like, I'm not going to train my competition and then have them break away, put my contracts in jeopardy, and then underbid me and eat off the plate that I've created. If I created a company, I wouldn't want that either. And then places like Oregon, you can't enforce a non-compete clause or, you know, any of that kind of stuff that might be there in terms of protection. People can do whatever they want. So that's another reason. People aren't loyal. People don't care. People don't want to give. It's not just one-sided. I can come on here and for hours go on and on and on about the negative aspects of private security companies and how they treat their officers, what they do and what they don't do. But the reality is that I can equally flip that coin and go for hours as to why they do that, and a lot of it comes down to the officers. Lazy, unreliable, unhinged, a lot of the times, unable to follow post orders, unable to follow simple instructions, unable to do what's best, not just for themselves and for the company, but for the industry at large. I can go on and on and on and on and on. So that's where it leaves us, in a situation where you have some great people who are out there who want to do the best by the industry, and they can't get that training unless they pay for it. And a lot of guys aren't in that position. But unfortunately, it is what it is. So what do you do? I'm going to tell you what you do, guys. As soon as I merge. Hang on a second. I'm going to tell you what you do. You do your best with where you are. I don't want to ever come on and say that if you want to do more, if you want to be more, if you want to learn more, get out of private security and go into law enforcement. That can't always be the answer, because a lot of times people don't have that opportunity. Everybody is not fit to be a police officer. Everybody doesn't have the ability to be a police officer. I know a guy, a great, but he applied for the Multnomah County Sheriff's Department. Multnomah County Sheriff's Department is talking about they're down 60 officers in the jail. They're down, you know, X amount of officers on the street. This guy applied. He wants to be a jailer. He's not even trying to be a street deputy. You know, they didn't hire him for whatever reason. They don't always tell you why that is. But, you know, I know this guy. I don't think that he's a bad guy. I don't think he has anything in his past that really should preclude him from being a jailer. Decent guy, hardworking guy, reliable guy, right? But for whatever reason, they didn't pick him up. And that happens to a lot of people. I've not been picked up for positions, you know? So everybody can't go into law enforcement. Everybody doesn't have that opportunity. So if you're working in private security, the answer can't always be, well, just do the bare minimum. And if you want to be better, if you want to do better, if you want to know more, then get out and go into a different field. No. Figure out what it is that you need and find the training. There's ways that you can get training that won't cost you. The number one thing is that there are so many police officers who are retiring or have retired. I saw this video where it was about police officers joining some sort of organization where it was like, I'm trying to get this as close as possible. It was an organization, a fraternity for retired police officers. The guy that was doing the speech, months, they did a study. After 6 months, like something like 90% of retired police officers hadn't heard from the large majority of people that they worked with in their department. It's like they just became a ghost, because the departments move on, they hire new people, people transfer in, like guys who had put in 10, 15, 20 years with the department, and then they retire, and within 6 months, they don't have any connection to that department. And a lot of these guys end up becoming depressed. They end up, you know, some people end up deleting themselves, all kinds of situations, right? So my point in bringing that up is that people that are former military, former law enforcement, these guys are walking encyclopedias of knowledge. You can find people that you can sit and talk with bounce things off of them, get education and training and information from these guys. I know 2 retired police officers, right? Find those people and talk to them. Same thing goes for military people. Same thing goes for, for jailers, any of that stuff. I've had retired guys show me handcuffing. I've had retired guys, give me tips on a lot of stuff, guys. I'm just saying that's a great avenue. What's another avenue? YouTube, right here. My only caveat with that is make sure that you are thinking about who you're getting your information from. Okay? Take everything that you hear with a grain of salt, even the shit that I say. Okay? But there's a lot of great information on YouTube. You can find some of these channels that are set up specifically from tactical training instructors, military training instructors, law enforcement. There's all kinds of information that's out there. The next thing would be going to school. You don't have to enroll in a university. You don't have to even enroll in a degree program. You can take courses online. There are courses from online colleges. You can take courses from Harvard and MIT. I don't know if you guys know this or not. You can take courses from Harvard and MIT online completely free. And it could be something that could benefit you, like communications, sociology, psychology, anything. Just sign up for a 6-week class, free online, to make yourself better. All right? And I think if you guys do enough research, you do enough digging, you can find other stuff. So, Eric, that's my breakdown of why the situation is what it is and how I would go about understanding how to navigate that. I know it's frustrating. You also said that you're 45, you're about to be 46, and you feel like you don't have a lot of time. Dude, I am right there with you. I just turned 46 last week, so I get it. And I hear Father Time's clock louder and louder every day. But what I will say is that if you're asking these questions, if you do care enough to reach out and ask this or talk about it or bring it up, dude, you're already on the right path, because most goofball security guards don't even think about this. It never crosses their mind. So the fact that you have the desire to be better, the fact that you are wanting to be educated, that you're wanting to learn, that you're wanting to do your job to the best of your ability, kudos to you. You're already on the right track. Okay? And I have no doubt that you're going to be successful. You just are going to have to do a little bit more effort on your part. At the end of the day, it's just like we talk about being your own first responder. We say, look, no one's coming to save you. The police aren't coming to save you. The Avengers aren't going to show up. You have to be able to protect yourself in all situations. This is why it's so important to practice the Second Amendment. Same thing goes with your training. We can sit here and talk about why, and we can sit here and talk about what. At the end of the day, the truth is no one is going to jump out of a cake and say, hey, happy birthday, here's some training. You're going to have to invest. Now, speaking of an investment, I offer a great report writing course. I will put it in the description of this video. The most important thing for you guys, aside from knowing what to do and what not to do, is how to articulate why you did what you did. Let me say this again. The most important thing for you as a security guard, aside from knowing what to do and what not to do, is being able to articulate why you did what you did. This is such an important thing that I'm going to repeat it one more time. Okay? Last time. The most important thing for you to know, aside from what to do and what not to do, is how to articulate why you did what you did. People all the time say, you're a security guard. You can't touch me. The fuck I can't? There's a lot of situations where I can touch you. There's a lot of situations where I can do a lot of things. I just have to be able to justify and articulate why I did it. And I have to be able to justify and articulate why I did it based on the post orders and the standing operating procedures of where I'm working. If I can do that, there's all kinds of things that I have access to when I'm working in my job as a security guard. So if you are not able to articulate that, that puts you in a much different position when you're working in security. This course that I have created, it teaches you everything. Not everything. It teaches you a lot about different types of reports, why you would make those reports, and how you should go about making those reports. Thinking about doing a webinar, maybe next week, where I actually demonstrate how I do my report writing. And guys, I write some phenomenal reports. I'm not bragging, right? I'm not bragging. I just write really good fucking reports. I do. And I'm able to teach you guys that. It's $35. You've spent more on Amazon on holsters that you don't use. So I will put that in the description of this video, or maybe the comment section of this video. Check it out, 35 bucks, 21st century report writing. Okay, I am pulling up to the gun range. I will be shooting with my Snub 38 Smith & Wesson Airweight. This is a gun that I liked when I bought it, and I don't like it because the front sight is the exact same color as the trench. No bueno, because I'm getting old and my eyesight is bad. But then it dawned on me that when you're shooting a revolver, 38 special, generally it's going to be at what I call crackhead distance, which is really close. So today I'm going to be drawing from concealment and trying to get center mass shots just based off of point shooting. So we will see how that goes. All right, I'm pulling up. I'll read your comments later. As always, thank you guys for stopping by, listening to me ramble. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. As always, please be careful, watch your back, keep your head on a swivel if you're working, watch your six, and be great. All right? Be great.